Thank you, ma'am. A very good evening to everyone here. Welcome, iconic woman, to our fifth week of interactive live everyday study session. And today, our speaker is going to be Dr. Shilpa Kavishwar, and who is a very experienced homeopath here to share her knowledge with us. So, Dr. Shilpa Kavishwar is BHMS MD Homeopathy in Materia Medica. She is professor and HOD of Department of Surgery in Srimati KBA HMC Chandwad, Nashik, Maharashtra. And she has published an article in 2015 in Homeopathic Journal on the topic Hahnemann treatment of burns. And she has also received the esteemed essay competition first prize organized by the Patna Institute in 2017. She is a very experienced homeopath with a lot of knowledge and experience that she has to share with us. So today she is here to share on her on diagnostic tools of cancer, and we are extremely grateful to have you here, ma'am. Thank you for your time. And right now I hand over the platform for you to do your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. So today I have been given the lecture on the topic of diagnostic tools of cancer. So all of us are very aware what are the important diagnostic tools. Here on the screen, if you can see, three things I have mentioned: clinical signs and symptoms, clinical signs and symptoms, basic investigative procedures, advanced investigations. Right? Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't know what are your expectations. I tried my level best so that patient when comes to us, we can at least help them to go for which investigations to be advised if we suspect a case of cancer. Okay. So diagnostic tools. There are three tools for us for the diagnosis of cancer. The first one is clinical signs and symptoms. Second is the investigative procedures which we go through. Third one is advanced investigations based on the cases. So, as we all of us are aware, during Hahnemann's time, investigative procedures, pathological reports, these were not there. But if they were existed, Hahnemann would have definitely added it in the totality of symptoms, maybe. So, as we know, signs, symptoms, pathology, stage of disease, investigation reports, all these together give the complete picture of the disease, which is called the portrait of disease. Okay. So, as our topic today is investigative procedures, means what? We are going through the pathological changes in the tissues, organs, or in the body through the investigations. And we are aware of our Boger. Dr. C.M. Boger, he emphasized the pathological findings when correctly interpreted enhance homeopathic prescribing. How do the investigations help us in treating or in selecting the medicine? The first thing is clarifying disease diagnosis. Second is determining the miasmatic background. Third, understanding the stage and depth of the disease. And fourth, aiding in remedy selection, especially when integrated with the totality of symptoms. Hope I'm not fast.
No, perfect. Perfect.
So you can go through this. This slide is a little bit big. I don't want to explain much, but I want to just focus on the Boger's importance. Boger has given the importance on pathology because we are going to know about the investigations. So first thing is, as pathological findings help first thing in diagnosis of the disease. While the totality remains the cornerstone, Boger included pathological modalities and general symptoms to build a more accurate picture. So, if we want to prescribe a medicine, if we want to make the picture of the patient, so we can add this investigative reports for in totality of symptoms. And as you already know, miasmatic understanding. The next is for the remedy differentiation. Then laboratory tests. Although modern labs weren't available in his time, Boger would likely to see their values in confirming clinical observations. Okay. Very important note. Boger did not prescribe for pathology, but with pathology using it as a complementary tool within classical homeopathic principles. Now coming to the main topic which was given to me, diagnostic tools of cancer. What are the tools which are available to us? Okay, we have a combination of tools depending upon the type, location, and stage of cancer. So either it may be different tests, we can say, type-specific diagnosis or location-based diagnosis. So these are the different tools. What are the tools? Let's see. Next comes to the role of homeopaths. We already know most cases patient approaches either after the diagnosis while undergoing, or they may take our treatment as an adjuvant or supportive therapy. Our role often includes to prevent the recurrences, helping prevent recurrences of cancer, and supportive care. Suppose if a patient is coming to us with minimum signs and symptoms, the case was not diagnosed, you are a homeopath and you are the patient's family physician, then what's your responsibility now? This is the main responsibility, identifying the initial signs and symptoms. So if we should be able to identify the initial signs and symptoms, then only we can go and advise the proper investigations necessary for the confirmation of the diagnosis. Do you agree? I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes,
Hello.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. It's clear.
Till now, is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So before going into the investigative tools and procedures, I have just a small focus I have taken on different cancers and what are the initial signs so that we can advise the investigations accordingly. So basically physical examination and symptoms. So homeopathy obviously depends on signs and symptoms. What are those symptoms? Either any lumps or any notice in the skin changes or axis organ changes. This is all overall on specific type. Suppose if it's a case of esophageal cancer. So initial symptom usually coming to us by patient is dysphagia. For example, if it's a case of gastric cancer, patient comes with hematemesis, that is blood in vomiting, or along with peptic ulcer symptoms, or pancreatic and liver cancers. Patient may present with jaundice, appetite changes, or edema, calcium deficiency symptoms. Intestinal and colonic cancers. So usually after the age of 45, patient presents with sudden changes in bowel habits, diarrhea followed by constipation or vice versa. The same way I have given all the types. In rectal cancer, like bleeding per rectum, every one of you know, oral cavity cancers, long-standing painless ulcer patches, which may or the patient may or may not have a history of tobacco use. Or in cases of melanoma and skin cancers, changes in skin color, increase in pigmentation of existing mole, bleeding from mole, etc. Laryngeal cancer, either aphonia, change in voice, hoarseness, lung cancer, blood in sputum, breathing difficulties, blood cancer, coincidental finding, or increase in WBC count, often with or without major clinical changes. All of us are very aware of this. Why I have taken this part is if we are able to diagnose the initial symptoms and signs, then only according to the presentation, we will advise the patient the proper required investigations. For example, painless lump, skin color changes on breast, dimpling of skin or any ulcer, erosion, bleeding from nipple, hardness in breast, gynecological cancers, cervical, uterine, ovarian, prostate cancers present with urgency, frequency, incontinence of urine. These often present with benign hypertrophy. So most of the times we usually know that BPH is mimics like a cancer. So till now, we were taking, as we have three tools. First tool is signs and symptoms. So I have discussed in short, as we all are aware of it, we discussed about the basic signs and symptoms. So patient has come to our clinic. We have not advised any investigations to the patient. We have just seen the patient. फॉर एग्जाम्पल मुझे दिखा कि ब्रेस्ट में निपल ब्लीडिंग हो रहा है, पेशेंट हैज कंप्लेन, और एल्स आई हैव नोटिस्ड एन अल्सर इन द oral cavity. So this is the first thing when the patient has come to me. The case is not diagnosed. So basing on that, now I'll proceed. My patient will ask me, what should I do now? Right? So then we are going to discuss about the basic laboratory investigations for diagnosis, which is the main topic which was allotted to me today. So do you feel that, can anyone, I don't know whether reply or discussion is allowed or not at this stage. So do you feel that laboratory investigations alone can confirm the cancer?
Most probably not.
No, that's what.
All
So
other
while
things are
laboratory
also
tests alone rarely confirm cancer, but they are definitely the crucial tools in screening, early detection, monitoring, and supporting a definitive diagnosis. As we being the homeopaths, we should definitely know what type of tests should be advised for different types of cancers. So if we are advising any laboratory test, it rarely confirms, but still it helps in the screening, it helps in the early detection, it helps in monitoring, and also for the definitive diagnosis. So proceeding towards the basic investigations which should be advised in oncology or in cancer cases. First thing, as we commonly, what is the common test we advise? CBC. Okay, complete blood count. What is the purpose? CBC obviously it evaluates red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets, and different type of cells. So what are the cases where CBC will be helping us for the diagnosis? So these are the conditions. Leukemia. If we see abnormal WBC, we can consider it to be leukemia. Lymphoma, lymphocytic. Bone marrow cells, bone marrow cancer. Okay, so what are the key signs? High or low WBC counts, anemia, very low hemoglobin, thrombocytopenia, low platelets. I hope you are getting. We are proceeding towards the basic investigations which should be advised. For example, मैंने बताया अभी आपको कि एक पेशेंट आया है, उसके ओरल कैविटी में अल्सर दिख रहा है, पता नहीं कितने दिनों से, दुख भी नहीं रहा है, कुछ भी नहीं है. अभी मुझे वो पेशेंट को अकॉर्डिंगली वो उस केस को देख के एडवाइस करना है. आई होप हिंदी सबको समझ में आती है ना?
Hindi, or not basic thing. In between, okay.
Okay.
In between 1 or 2 lines, okay.
Okay. So I'm going stepwise. We have 3 tools. Okay. The first tool is signs and symptoms. मतलब patient आया है, आपने patient को देखा है, आपको लग रहा है कि patient, you have seen the patient and you are feeling that this patient may have cancer. Okay. I have noticed. Signs I have noticed, symptoms the patient given by him. Okay. Then first tool is signs and symptoms, which I already told, where we should suspect. Now the second tool. Okay, what are the second tool? Basic investigations. So among the basic investigations, the first investigation is blood test, that is blood test in oncology. So what is that one? CBC, which evaluates red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Second investigation, in the same blood, we can advise for peripheral blood smear. So what is peripheral blood smear? We will advise microscopic examination of blood cells, where they are useful if there are any immature blasts or immature cells, lymphomas, or in cases of myelodysplastic syndromes. In this case, smear. मतलब मैं पहले I'll advise first of all CBC. Then if I feel that there is some abnormality noted in the blood cells or in the overall cells, then I'll go for the second test, that is PBS, that is peripheral blood smear. Then the third, most important, there are many doubts to many people regarding this. Tumor marker testing in serum or body fluids. What are these tumor marker tests? So these are the simply proteins. Suppose if any patient is suffering with cancer, some abnormal tumor marker cells, these cells are proteins. So you can see I'm pointing out tumor marker cells, which are the substances which are usually proteins which are produced by cancer cells or by the body in response to cancer. These markers may be detected either in blood, in urine, in stool, in body fluids, or in tissues. I hope you are clear with the tumor marker testing. We all of us know PSA. We usually advise simply PSA. But what is that PSA? PSA is one of a tumor marker, which is a protein, which is produced when a patient is suffering with prostate cancer. Got it? So what are its roles? It helps in supporting the diagnosis. Very important. Everyone, please listen. Tumor marker tests are not confirmatory tests. They just support the diagnosis. If you go through, आपने पेशेंट को एडवाइस किया, पेशेंट ने रिपोर्ट लाया है पीएसए एलिवेटेड, नीचे एक नोट दिया रहता है, देयर विल बी अ नोट गिवन इन डाउनस्टेयर्स, लाइक इन दैट नोट इट इज रिटन this tumor marker, even a PSA is elevated, it doesn't mean that patient has cancer. Got it? Because these tumor markers even get elevated in other conditions also. But what is the role of tumor marker then? Role क्या है? They help in monitoring treatment response. Allopathic people, they go for chemotherapy, right? So which type of chemotherapy, how many cycles to be given? So basing on the tumor markers, they monitor the treatment response. And also very important, for which the patient visits the homeopath, detecting recurrences, whether this patient may present with recurrence of cancer or not. These tumor marker cells will be presenting or helping us to know. Then estimating the prognosis. What can be the prognosis of this patient? What are the different tumor markers? Let's see. There is a big list. PSA, prostate specific antigen. Okay, I have given the normal range. No need to remember this because it's already given in our reports. So what is that useful? It is for the cases of prostate cancer. If I am suspecting, if a patient is coming to me with urinary incontinence, age above 50 plus or 60, and if the patient is presenting with incontinence, dribbling, etc., then I may suggest a PSA test. And if it's elevated, then that how it will be useful? It will be as a screening, diagnosis, and also for monitoring. The same way, CA 125. If anyone is interested to know, we will discuss this overall later again. CA 125. This is again a type of protein which is released if at all a patient is presenting with ovarian cancer. Then another carcinoembryonic antigen, CEA. This is especially advised when a patient is suffering with either colorectal, lung, breast, pancreatic cancers. This is specifically useful for monitoring. Commonly, when a patient is presenting with, for example, lung cancer. Okay, so usually allopaths advise CEA, carcinoembryonic antigen. Why? They want to monitor. They want to see how their treatment, how the patient is responding to the treatment. Next is AFP, that is alpha fetoprotein, which is helpful or which is advised in cases of liver, testicular, that is non-seminoma cancer, yolk sac tumors, etc. Again, it is a diagnostic, prognostic, and also monitoring. Next is beta HCG, human chorionogonadotrophin. Very important. This is considered to be the most important test for diagnosis of testicular choriocarcinoma. Very important. Almost in other cases, it may be helpful for screening, but beta HCG elevated is almost a confirmatory diagnosis for testicular cancer. CA 19, 9. in cases of pancreatic, biliary tract, gastric cancers. Again, it's helpful for monitoring and recurrences. Ma'am, I hope I'm not fast.
No, ma'am. Perfect way.
Okay. LDH, lactate dehydrogenase. Most of the times we have seen these cases, these tests, when the patient comes to us with a big reports, a bunch of reports. We see what is LDH. It is again lactate dehydrogenase, which is elevated in case of many solid tumors in the body and also lymphoma. Okay. CA 15-3 and CA 27.29. This is in cases of breast cancer. This usually doesn't diagnose. Okay, what I told for beta HCG, it may diagnose, but CA15, etc., these doesn't diagnose the breast cancer, but they help in monitoring the response. Suppose if a patient is going through chemotherapy, 6 cycles the doctor decides, or 3 cycles the doctor decides. So if we want to see how the patient is responding to the treatment, whether more cycles are needed or not, at that stage, they will advise this type of CA. Then calcitonin, medullary thyroid carcinoma. This is again for the diagnosis if we are suspecting. Thyroglobulin. This is again a tumor marker elevated for differentiated thyroid cancer. Comogranin A, neuroendocrinal tumors. Benzone proteins in urine, they should remain absent. If they are present, it suspects the case of multiple myeloma. So these are the common tumor markers which are advised in different cases of cancer. PSA for prostate cancer, CA125 for ovarian cancer, carcinoembryonic antigen for colorectal, lung and breast cancers, AFP, alpha fetoprotein for liver, testicular, yolk sac tumors, beta HCG for testicular cancer, CA19-9 for pancreatic, biliary tract and gastric cancers, LDH for lymphoma, testicular, many solid tumors, CA 15-33 and CA 27.29 for breast cancer, calcitonin, thyroglobulin. These are the different tumor markers. This should be taken into note. Limitations and best practices for the tumor markers. These are not specific to cancer, but may be elevated even in benign conditions like prostatitis, endometriosis, or pregnancy. Not always elevated in early stage cancer. So, if we have signs and symptoms and if we want to diagnose a case in early stages, they may not be elevated in early stage of cancer. So, this should not be used alone for screening except possibly PSA. Obtain baseline levels before starting the treatment and use serial measurements to monitor treatment response. Other tests, you all are very aware, liver function tests. So what are liver function tests advised? To detect primary liver cancer or secondary liver metastasis. Renal function tests, the purpose to assess kidney functions before or after treatment, kidney cancer, cancers affecting metabolism or hydration status. Obviously, urine analysis is advised and its purpose is to detect blood, protein or any abnormal cells in the urine. They are useful to detect bladder cancer, kidney cancer or any prostate cancer. Next test which we advise is stool for occult blood test and bone marrow aspiration. So fecal immunochemical tests means testing the stool for any chemicals or any hidden blood present in the stool. So this is diagnosis for colorectal cancer. Another test, bone marrow aspiration and biopsy, where direct sampling of bone marrow is taken for any abnormal cells. Means I have seen CBC, I have advised, I have seen some abnormal cells in the CBC or peripheral blood smear. Then I may suspect it to be leukemia, lymphoma or multiple myeloma. So for that, I have to confirm the diagnosis with this bone marrow aspiration. Then, other than this, cytological tests, for example, pap smear for cervical cancer, sputum cytology for lung cancer, urine cytology for blood cancer, and serum protein electrophoresis to detect abnormal monoclonal proteins in multiple myeloma. So till now, the first tool was signs and symptoms. The second tool was basic investigations. The third tool is advanced investigations in cancer diagnosis and management. I hope is that clear till now?
Yes, ma'am. Very, very good.
Okay. These investigations go beyond basic tests like blood work and routine imaging. They provide high resolution visualization, molecular level insights, and help with accurate staging, treatment decision, and prognosis evaluation. Means the higher investigations basing on the case. What are these? PET CT scan, commonly advised. What is its purpose? It detects metabolically active cancer cells. Positron emission tomography, very commonly test advised, which indicates or which detects metabolically active cancer cells. What are the common uses? In cases of lungs, in cases of lung cancer, lymphoma, melanoma, colorectal, head and neck, anywhere, any cancer. Then another is magnetic resonance image with contrast. Means by injecting a dye, MRI is taken. So with this, high resolution imaging of soft tissues can be seen. So blood vessels, etc. can also be seen by this MRI contrast. Where it is commonly used in cases of brain, spinal cord, prostate, liver and breast. CT angiography. So CT angiography and multiphasic CT scans, these are for vascular mapping and lesion characterization. So typically in cases of blood vessel mapping, these are usually used. So liver, pancreas, renal and gastrointestinal cancers. Obviously whole body MRI and whole body PET scan, whole body MRI. So which detects metastasis with high soft tissue details. In cases of pediatric cancers, bone tumors, sarcomas, any type can be detected. The last one is bone scan, which is a nuclear medicine, which detects bone metastasis. In cases of commonly bone metastasis is seen in cases of breast cancer, prostate cancer, and lung cancers. So in these cases, usually we go for bone scan. Other than the general scans, we have organ-specific advanced diagnostic tools, bronchoscopy with endobronchial ultrasound for nodal sampling and staging of lung cancer. In cases of brain tumors, MRI with spectroscopy and perfusion, more advanced molecular testing. So we usually, these are of not much idea for about us, but we usually can advise the patient to go for these type of tests. Obviously, other than in breast cancer, we usually go for mammography and sonomammography. But other than this, there are oncotype. Just a second now. Gamma print, which is used to estimate recurrent risk and guide chemotherapy decisions. Any one of you have any idea about this HER2 testing? Have you heard about it? In cases of, to determine a cancer tumor, HER2 protein, which is elevated. In cases of breast cancer, usually gastric cancers, again, this is a tumor marker test. In case of leukemia and lymphomas, bone marrow aspiration and biopsy, flow cytometry. Obviously, in prostate cancer, MRI-guided biopsy, which improves the accuracy of prostate cancer detection compared to traditional biopsy. PCA, prostate cancer antigen 3, a urine-based test under research, not widely used clinically. So we usually go for PSA only. This is not widely accepted. Thank you. Hello, ma'am. I have finished with my topic.
Okay. I'm very comprehensively you have given all the details and what has to be done in the case of diagnosis of cancer. Maybe, may not be, we are asking the patient to do all these things, but the knowledge is very, very essential for a homeopath while we are treating
That's
cancer.
what my main
Yes, ma'am.
motto was the same thing. To at least we
Yes.
should have the knowledge of these tests. Actually, madam, while
Yes.
planning for the meeting, she has told me the same thing to go.
Yes, ma'am. And it's a very comprehensive. And actually, I had during my lectures, I had told here and there these tests, that test. But now we understand it is very streamlined and very well presented. Now. Thank you so much for your very well presented talk. Any questions? Please let me know in the chat box. Have a little information. HER2 positive breast cancer is a type of breast cancer that tests positive for human epidermal growth factor
Growth factor
receptor 2
receptor 2. Yes, human epidermal growth
protein
factor receptor 2. Yes, yes. Which is
in
a
about
protein.
25% of all breast cancer.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. This protein usually
This
promotes the growth of cancer cells in the
cells.
it's faster actually.
Yes. And causing the body to make too many HCR2 receptors.
Okay.
So these types of cancers are very aggressive.
Yes.
And also, if they are sensitive to hormones like estrogen and progesterone, breast cancer cells are that is it. They are good prognostically. Am I right now?
Okay.
So targeted therapy will be done with hormones. Most of the tests are very expensive. Yeah, usually.
Obviously, actually, this topic is I'm not perfect at this topic, but as I was suggested and I didn't have time, so I can say कि other than this, we can't more focus on this topic because it's simply the diagnostic tools, na.
Yeah, it's only tools.
And cancer is a so vast topic. We can take 10 lectures also if we start with.
Correct. About the cost thing, usually we have government institutions who are very good in this testing and all. Maybe we can refer to such government institutions as well. Thank you. And so the knowledge about
Other than the
testing.
questions, I suggest everyone to present their views so that it can be improved for the next time. I don't expect questions to clear the doubts, but at least I expect you to present your views so that it can be improved. What more can be added?
Hello, ma'am. Can I speak?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Shilpa, this was a really very informative session. And actually, when patient comes with us, they come with the files with us. So
Yes.
they have already done, or sometimes they have just first. We are the first people to see, so we also don't know what to tell them to get the test done. Like, so now at least we know. Okay, we can give them this information because I know this test most of the tests are very very expensive. So people will like, if it is not necessary, unnecessary, don't pocket ko burden hota hai hamara. Yeah, they don't want कि अगर नहीं है तो जरूरत मत करो मत फिर. So one way it is if we already have the papers with us, we can see them. So it is very nice. At least we can understand what is the patient which stage he's there, and what can be the prognosis with them, and at least we can guide them properly where they have to go next. What can be the next step for them?
So that's what initially I told the same thing, na.
Yes. So that only
To us, either the patient comes to us with the reports and confirmation, or the patients expects us that we should guide them if they are in the initial stages.
Correct, ma'am. Yeah, correct. So it was really very, and it was so crisp, and everything was so nicely summarized. Very nice, very nice.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Shilpa, I think whatever you have given the basic test to be done, with
Yes.
that only we will have some idea about where we are heading. So, like liver function test and renal function test and CBC, first two sections only we will have some idea where we are heading, so that we can send them to uh, any specialized hospital or whatever is needed. So it is a very clear representation what can be done by homeopathy. Very well done. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a very good presentation, Dr. Shilpa.
Thank you, Saujanya. I need suggestions actually. What more to be improved?
Yeah, I think you can little elaborate about the what is expected out of doing the test, ma'am. Like HGR2, you told, no? In that way.
Yes.
So little more added to. So CA 125 if we are doing, and what ranges will be very high, and what ranges is okay. In that way, you few suggestions. In that way, you can help us. Next time.
Okay, ma'am. I'll
And
try
even
for the next.
PSA also, not
But
elevated
actually,
PSA
these
does
are.
not mean.
But actually, these
Yes,
tests are not confirmatory. Yeah,
yes, yes,
when we see through the reports also, na ma'am, we see
yes,
in the report also interpretation में नीचे लिखा हुआ रहता है कि these are
yes,
not diagnostic. These can be elevated in other
uh, uh,
conditions also. These tumor
yes,
markers.
yes. But we will not be panicky if we understand it is okay or it is deviation from the normal itself or it is really concerned. That definitely. Do you have any other suggestions?
I think everyone is offline, or I don't know, no one is responding.
No, ma'am, everyone will be hearing in their clinics or somewhere. They may not be able to
Okay.
unmute or whatever. That could be one reason. It was around little elevated, uh, slightly elevated, but she is panicking and she is thinking she has cancer. Do you
Okay.
have any suggestions about this? How can we handle such patients?
Like
Any
in
thoughts
cases of,
about
you
it?
mean to say, if a case is presenting with anxiety?
Uh, after CE test was done just to rule out any uh, cancer others. Since she had some issues like
Acha,
vaginal
she has a doubt that she might
discharge.
have cancer.
Yes,
So in such cases, the same thing, we can go through CBC, peripheral blood smear, and we can
yes,
advise. Obviously, these are hypochondriac patients. Unless and until
yes,
you don't show them the reports, that these reports are all normal, they
normal.
don't accept it.
Yes,
We have hypochondriac patients now. I think it could be a case of hypochondriac patients then.
hyper. Yes, yes. Thinking,
So
overly thinking.
hypochondriac patients, they feel that all investigations should be done and all investigations should show that there is nothing. Then only they get satisfied.
Yes,
If necessary, they will they themselves go through the tests also. Even if we don't
yeah.
advise, they themselves go
Yes.
to the lab. They advise again and again. We have patients where they go for recurrently for MRI to the back, especially
Mm,
back pain patients, etc.
I understand.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
there are some patients who, despite having all the reports, they are not satisfied that they have that they are normal. They feel so. We have a medicine. I think I've read in nitric acid. that there are patients they have a delusion and they are confirmed that they have cancers.
I
So,
think.
am I correct, ma'am?
I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
sure.
No matter
I,
how many
yeah,
reports
fear
will
of
show
cancer,
them.
Ah,
show them.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, nitric acid is there.
Yes,
Top.
nitric acid is there. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you, ma'am.
okay. Thank you, ma'am.
So we'll have
Excuse
series.
me. Hello.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, doctor.
Yes. So, I wouldn't tell it exactly like a doubt, but maybe a suggestion wherein we can have one discussion based same thing about cancer. I mean, what would be the right time to suggest a clinical, I mean, a test for the patient regarding his disease? I mean, sometimes it happens, like the previous doctor said, that every time everything that comes up, the patient might think this is cancer. Or there are some doctors who feel that anything that comes up, they have to do a cancer test for it. I mean, we have seen doctors with that tendency. As a homeopath, I was just thinking ki how, especially the invasive techniques like biopsy and all, where exactly, what is the exact moment or time that we should suggest these tests for the patient? Like from 2 days, because this is a very nagging question in my mind, because then sometimes people come up with some skin issues, or maybe it could be a very harmless growth which we don't need to actually prick it, or based on the history we don't need to actually do anything to it. It can easily respond to medicine. I mean, at least with our knowledge, a little bit of knowledge, we can try and know that this may not be malignant. So is it necessary ki at the first instance itself we advise this test to the patient, especially the invasive ones which can actually harm or outweigh the risks of actually treating the patient with medicine? Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Shilpa. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, I don't know if you got my question, ma'am.
I'm not
Hello.
hearing. Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to recollect
No,
actually.
what I'm saying is it what exactly the homeopathic physicians, see, we have always read that you don't need to actually go and prick about
Breathe.
everything and do
Yes,
a
yes.
biopsy for everything that comes to you, thinking that it might be malignant. So, the exact thing, like how to actually, from the presenting symptoms itself, how do we know that this is more towards benign than malignancy? Rather than,
Obviously, clinical
asking,
symptoms and signs, progression, it's observation
yeah.
on observation, it's progression of this, like if it's a small elevation, if we go through, how fast is it growing, how are the edges, on palpation, whether it is hard or soft. And other than
Yeah.
this,
Yes.
especially CBC, ESR, if we go through basic investigations,
Correct.
if we go through, if we find any suspicion in the basic investigations, and along with the symptoms noticed, then we should go
Okay.
think about whether it should be pricked or not.
Yeah, but otherwise, let's not disturb it. Is that the general conclusion? I mean,
Yes.
yeah, right?
Obviously.
Okay, because, okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I
ma'am.
will add few thoughts also.
Yes,
See,
ma'am.
doctor, if we are going for invasive techniques, better we leave those things for the experts. So my
Yeah,
thought
that's
is, unless it is that important, we should not go for invasive techniques. And if at all it is necessary, better we send them to uh, a cancer expert or whatever. That is my thought. Because whenever we do invasive techniques used, that usually triggers the cancer itself. That is a very proven thing, even though there is a difference of opinion, but that is a truth actually. So I will suggest, as Dr. Shilpa says, we have to see the basics like CBC and other things, how the patient is basically, whether he is very sick or he is in the normal energy level and all those things, whatever we get in the clinical picture. And then if it is really alarming or something you think there is something fishy, then better you send them to expert. Oh, that will be ideal. That is what I will do, because we can't be judges in certain situations except
yes.
expert in the field. So that's the
Yes.
better.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, ma'am. I thought too. Thank you so much.
Correct. I think as we learned, tests are useful for a prognosis. Can we see future presenter including it for their potency selection and understanding cases? Any thoughts about this, ma'am?
Regarding pole potency selection and
Potency selection and prognosis, whether these tests will be helpful.
Acha, for
Can
potency
you add
selection, whether these tests will be helpful or not, you mean to say?
help? Yes.
Obviously, these tests will be showing the stage of the disease, right? Are you getting me? When we are advising some tests, we are getting the stage of the disease. Hello?
Yes.
When we are advising some tests, we are getting the stage of the disease. So obviously, basing on the pathology and basing on the stage of the disease, it shows the susceptibility of the patient. If the pathology is more, the susceptibility is high. Obviously, in such cases, we have to go for low potencies.
Yes.
Direct relation of pathology with the susceptibility. So susceptibility has a very important role in selection of the medicine, that is potency. This is what I feel. Huh?
Yes. I think that has been addressed. I think no more questions.
Okay. Shall we consider this to be meeting to be ended?
Yes, I think so.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Thank you so much
we
for
had
giving
a
me the chance.
wonderful session. Very crisp and
More
clear.
than the appreciations, I actually expect the corrections, and I expect that what changes to be done for my next talk, if at all.
Yes. I think a few suggestions are also there.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
we'll be
I
expecting.
suggest everyone, I request everyone to please can openly suggest me in the group also for the changes which should be done for me for the improvement. Thank you,
Yes.
everyone,
Thank
for
you.
your
I
attention.
think we can
Okay.
end the session.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
one and
Thank
all.
you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.